Hello, welcome to Art Appreciation, also called Art 111. I am your instructor, Nancy Briggs. Thanks for joining me this semester. This course is designed to provide you with a good understanding and several approaches to appreciating art. You will learn the language used to describe and look at art. You'll understand the materials and techniques used to make art. You'll appreciate the process of making art because you'll be making art yourself. You'll analyze art through the lens of overarching themes, and you will recognize the context of art through history. The course is locked until you take the entry verification quiz. This is of all online courses at Coastal, so if you've taken it for one class, it's the same quiz. You still have to take it for this one to see anything in the class. Just get a 70% and you're good. You're in the class officially. I don't count it as a grade, so don't think you have to get 100. Just get it over with, you're in the class. Okay. Then there's a brief introduction and 8 units. You'll have 2 weeks to complete each unit, and the intro unit, which is really just a little quiz, is part of unit 1. So that has the same timeline. Each unit has the same types of assignments with a new theme. The weekly workload, with the exception of the intro, which again is just reading the syllabus, watching this video, taking a quiz, you'll see that I have in my overview in each unit, I have divided the workload into 2 manageable weeks of college level work. They're in a suggested order, which makes the most sense because you have to say, for instance, cover these chapters to know what to do on the drawing project, right? So I highly recommend that you go in the order of this and parse it out in the weekly schedule. The deadline is the deadline, but I do not recommend trying to complete all the work the last day or 2. I'll go over what these are, and hopefully you'll see that they're a little bit more intense than a couple hours will accomplish. So just to reiterate the difference between attendance and deadlines, the units are 2 weeks long with their own due date, and no late work will be accepted from them if the due date has passed. However, the course is considered through Coastal a once-a-week course, and you must submit at least 1 assignment that earns a grade per week to be counted as present in the class. So the units have their own deadline, but then there's the in-between weeks where there's not a deadline for the unit, but you do have to still work in the class to not be marked absent, okay? So again, not just logging in and reading, you must take at least a quiz or, pass in the project, whatever it is. However, again, I'm recommending that you don't wait until the last week to do everything. Reinstatement is a possibility if you, reach any of these numbers here. That's the Coastal chart there. However, the deadline's the deadline. So if you miss a deadline and an absence and you ask for reinstatement, you still won't be able to make up the work, okay? So just pay attention to deadlines and make sure you're doing everything, at least one thing every week, if not 3 or 4. All right, the course schedule, I sent that to you. Again, it's broken up into more manageable weekly things here. This is the exceptional week where you actually do have something due on the off week of the unit because of that little quiz. But really, you should be working on Unit 1 this week as well, okay? All right, you can see from Unit 1 that we jump around a bit in the textbook. The textbook is designed to be used as modular, and instructors can use it any way they want. There's 4 different sections, and I use 3 of the sections. The 3rd section is art history. And we have art history classes I teach at Coastal. So I sparse that in. You'll see there is a lot of art history in the materials that we're going to cover. We just won't cover the actual chapter in the book. I've designed the course so that each unit covers materials, language, projects, and themes that all go together to create a well-rounded approach to appreciation. Each unit has core images that you'll know by watching videos, supplemental materials, and taking notes, okay? So you can see here from Unit 1 that you have two chapters from two chapters from the first section of the book, one chapter from the second, and one chapter with the theme, which is art and religion, in chapter 4. So these all go together to create the theme of art and religion, and that's what you'll be working on here. So all the different assignments will have to do with that. So each unit consists of textbook readings and these little quizzes that come with our textbook, an art project, a studio gallery post, which is your art project in a forum, supplemental readings and videos, graded unit image notes, and a discussion forum. As you can see, this is more work that can be done well and last minute, okay? So please plan your time wisely and do your best do your best in the class. All right, so the distribution of grades, the inquisitives are 15%. Those are the textbook things. The unit projects and the forum together are 25%, so that's a good chunk of it. The forums, the written forums, are 15%. The chapter notes are another big chunk, 25%. And then the final project, the final unit, is 20% of your grade. It counts as your final exam. So all projects, forums, and graded notes will have rubrics and guidelines. There's instructional, PowerPoints, all kinds of things to help you do your best. Okay, so our textbook is Gateways to Art, and you've already bought it. It's included with the course, and attached to them are the inquisitives. If you've taken another, Norton is the publisher, a textbook class, you know what those are. There are videos that show you how to work it. There's like a little gauge thing in Quizmo and all this stuff. So just check out the tutorials on that, or you can, send me a message and I can help you with that on how to do those quickly. You can take them as many times as you want, so why not get 100% on the inquisitives, all right? All right, the guided image notes. Now these are important to this class. They're 25% of your grade. What they do is they synthesize all the things you're learning in the unit. So this is an example from the first image notes here. You are going to summarize what you learned about it from the video. You're going to describe it using the section 1 chapters, and then you're going to apply the theme from section 4. All right, so they're meant for you to show that you've learned all the things that you were supposed to, and you're applying them to this image, okay? As you can see, there's a lot of parts to these, and just to put it out there, AI is not going to be your friend in this class. It would take you a lot longer to plug all this information into AI than just answer it, so please just do your own work. That's what's expected. All right, the written discussion forums. Each unit has a forum question that you'll apply the unit materials sometimes they're from your guided notes. You'll take an example from there, so it's a little double dipping, and you'll apply it to new question or whatever the question is, and then you will have a conversation with your classmates. You have to reply to at least 2 classmates with relevant information that you've learned from the unit. All right, so it's not a social media site. You shouldn't just be saying, hey, I like that, hey, I agree with you, hey, whatever. You should be applying, think about it as yes and statements. Like, I think you made a good point about this. I also learned, or I also saw, something like that. So you're adding to the conversation for full credit. The gallery projects. Now don't panic if you're not an artist. Most art majors are in the other art history classes. It's just beginning level art projects. A lot of them are conceptual. There's a couple of photography ones. Like, there's not, don't panic like, oh, I have to make art. Sometimes students get very fearful about it. In fact, I get a lot of messages saying, I enjoyed the art making more than I ever thought I would. So hopefully you'll be one of those, okay? There'll be little projects that you will apply what we're learning. We have a materials section of the book, and you'll be learning about that. So for instance, this one is a drawing unit, and we learn about line, shape, and contrast, as you can see. So you'll be applying that to a drawing. All right, so just do your best. You should have like good craftsmanship, good effort, that kind of stuff, and you'll be fine. All right. Your textbook is already included in the course, as I said, but you will need some very basic art supplies, things you probably already have around your house. Don't feel you have to go out and buy anything. For instance, if you don't have a good piece of sketchbook paper, just use printer paper. All right, like it's fine with me. I don't need you to spend any money on this stuff, but if you want to, like some students, like we have a sculpture thing, go very elaborate. I don't want you to feel, like I don't want you to, but it's not expected that you'll spend any money. Excuse me. All right, no late work will be accepted, just to reiterate that. It's usually not a problem in this class since you have 2 weeks. All right, course navigation. If you're new to Canvas, we've been using a couple semesters, so maybe not. You get everything on the modules. My video will be down here when you come in. I'll say start here above this, but there is a modules tab both places. And Canvas is very friendly. You can see everything you need to do everywhere you go, all right? So when you hit the modules, after you take the verification quiz and the orientation quiz or the course quiz, then you'll see units 1 and 2. You won't see them until you get those done. So you'll see everything's just lined up there with the deadlines. You can also use the calendar tab on the left to see what's due when. You can go to your grades page. You hit this tab over here on the left, and hopefully you will. You'll see as things are graded, and then you'll see comments. But you can also use this as your guide. What's been assigned to you, when is it due, and then the distribution here is on the right. All right, so this week, or the next 2 weeks I should say, first you're going to take this entry verification quiz. Then you're going to see the rest of the course. Or actually, you'll see this part of the course. You'll read through the information. Frankly, everything's on the syllabus. Everything else here is just part of the syllabus divided or whatever. This video covers everything in the syllabus too, so you might not need to do that. Then you're going to take this little intro quiz. It's 10 points. I think it's 5 questions. Things like, is late work accepted? All right, that should take you about a minute. And then you're going to go on to Unit 1, which you should start this week, all right? Even though that's not due until January 18th. So this week you do have the intro quiz due by Sunday. You have to take this first. So be sure you do that. So jump right in and start all of this week. Other matters, please check your messages and announcements often. I do send reminders at the beginning and end of each week about due dates. I'll also send you personal messages especially if you turn something in early. Maybe you missed a part of a question on the image notes or something, and I'll say, you passed it in so early, why don't you go ahead and do it over again? That is one advantage of working ahead. I should say also, if you need help with something, working ahead is the best way as well. If you wait till the last Sunday and write me a question Sunday afternoon, I might not get it. All right, so be sure you know what you're doing during the unit, no matter when you do it. All right. This is an online course, so you're responsible for having internet and a working computer. No late work will be accepted because of those issues. It says that in the syllabus. All right. Please get in touch with me if you need help with the course materials. I understand that, sometimes the questions have a lot of parts to them, or maybe the projects, you just can't visualize what you're supposed to do. There's usually examples in there, but or you just want to, bounce an idea off me. That's what I'm here for, okay? I hope that you feel that I am here to facilitate your success in the course and not just to check up on you or to grade you. I really do want you to do well, and more than that, I want you to enjoy the class, all right? So I'm looking forward to a great semester. Get in touch with me. Thanks.